I don't know why, but one, I know people will jump on me for saying this, but one doesn't expect a very good-looking girl and a singer to be have a Bachelor of Science degree. I don't know why people think that way. Was this because parents says, you're not singing, Diane, until you have a good education behind you?
Well, no, I actually did that.
You did it off your own bat?
I said to myself, I've got to have a good education behind me. Of course, in America, a lot more people go to college than here.
Yes.
Just as a matter of course, it's kind of what you have to do.
But you were singing along all along as you were studying?
Oh, yeah. Well, but then I never assumed that I had a particularly good voice. I grew up singing in choirs and taught myself to play the guitar when I was 17 because I was kind of the leader at parties. So whenever there was a party, I was playing and singing, and everybody'd sing along. But it never crossed my mind for a second that I'd make a living doing it.
As a professional singer?
No.
I must congratulate you. You just got married, what, 3-4 months ago?
Yes, 4 months ago.
Who's the lucky man and where did you meet him?
His name is David, and I met him a year and a half ago when he was directing a documentary over here, and I was hosting it,
Over where?
presenting it.
Over where?
In England, in the
sorry.
UK.
Yes.
And we worked together for 2 days where I was just taking direction from him because he was the director. And he had decided from the moment that he laid eyes on me that I was his partner in life. And then it was just a matter of him convincing me of that. I took no convincing at all. Actually, what happened is I offered to show him around London on the Sunday, and we spent 4 hours together, by which time, at the end of which time he asked me to marry him. And I said, of course. Isn't that a great story? And it's true. They're not sure. They're dubious.
I don't think, I'm not convinced either.
I wouldn't dare make up a story like that.
In 4 hours, he asked you to marry him and you agreed?
Yes.
Why? What this guy must be on a donus, is he? What's he got, this fella?
Well, he's got the other half of me, if that makes any sense. It's like I had been lonely all my life until I met David. Now, maybe some of you understand that. When you meet your right partner in life, you're suddenly not lonely anymore. And he has the same feelings, the same beliefs, the same ethics, the same morals, the same aspirations, everything that I do. And I've missed him for so long. It's almost as if I've known him hundreds and hundreds of years ago, and it was like a recognition. Well, there you are. It's about time.
You see, over here, we tend to go out with a girl, and we court her for about 25 years, and then we may or may not marry them, depending what the mammy says.
It's terror, isn't it?
But how did you know in 4 hours that this was your other half?
I just knew. I can't explain it from anything mental. It wasn't mental at all. Because actually what happened is I said yes, of course, and he went off because he had an evening meeting that evening. And I started to freak. What have I done? And the whole next day I chewed nails down to nowhere. And he called me Monday evening and said, "You're panicking, aren't you?" And I said, "Absolutely, I don't know you." And he said, "Well, follow your heart. Don't let your mind interfere with what your heart knows best." And that was the end of all fears and qualms for me. We've been together ever since. We got married 4 months ago when we finally found the time when everybody could get together on the same continent. And it's just the best relationship I've ever had, and he's the most wonderful man I've ever known.
That is tremendous. Tell me a little bit about your interest in the paranormal. Has that got anything to do with what you're talking about?
Well, yeah.
You said that you feel as if you've known him for hundreds of years.
Well, yeah, and I have had past life regressions several times in the past. Some of you might remember a kind of News of the World article that was, 6 or 7 years ago. And I'd been regressed through hypnosis to past lives. I didn't actually see the past life then. What David and I have done is gone and been hypnotized and had a past life regression together, and found that according to our tapes when we were unconscious, I was his wife in the 16th century in Italy. He was a fisherman. I died in childbirth in my mid-30s and left him. And the person that did the regression said it appears that we've met in this lifetime in our mid-30s in order to have the rest of our lives together. Now, what do you think of that? Dubious again.
But you're obviously, yes. It's fascinating, but dubious, yes. Have you had other lives? Have you done a lot of this regression stuff?
Yeah, I went back to 5 or 6 other lives, including a farmer in Kansas in about 1860. A man. Walking,
you were a man.
I was a man. That's the only one that I had that was a man. But he was such an ordinary soul. And if I was making it up, I think I'd make up somebody far more dramatic than that. He was just walking across the fields going to town to buy sugar for his wife's birthday.
And you believe you were he?
Well, I either have an incredible imagination or maybe it's true. He's dubious.
Fascinated, but not sure.
Interesting stuff.
Okay, tell me
Well,
about...
I've been pursuing all of these interests for a long time. You know, reincarnation, karmic things. I'm fascinated by philosophy and spiritual things and religions and all of that stuff. And I'm also very interested in natural health, and therefore I studied to be a nutrition consultant and all of those things. They kind of all go together. I'm not quite as weird as Shirley MacLaine, but I'm getting there.
And meditation.
I meditate.
What do you do in your meditating periods?
It's mostly kind of, I think Christian people would understand it as prayer. Because that's really what it is. It's a place of deep serenity where you can listen for something else to guide you. And it's the most wonderful feeling in the world. There's no hocus pocus about it. You know, I don't sit and Om, although a lot of people do, transcendental meditation. Mine turns out to be a prayer. And it's a prayer that's repeated over and over again until you're so deeply relaxed that you actually feel in tune with something greater than you. And that's a wonderful feeling, because there is something greater than us.
So it's based on sort of Christian principles?
Oh yeah, I'm a Christian, but the edges of my beliefs in Christianity are wavy because I also incorporate Eastern religions too. But I believe that anybody that follows what Jesus taught is going to get to God, no matter whether he's a Buddhist, Hindu, Muslim, or whatever. It's just I have my doubts about what religious structuring does to people.
Nice
listen
lesson.
to me.
No, nice little lesson
Listen
for
to me.
Northern
Get off your platform, woman.
No, because it's a fascinating platform. What about the singing career now? What's happening in 1991 today?
Well, I've written most of a new album, and the album was going to be done last summer, and the record company that was recording it went bust, along with lots and lots of other companies in the UK in the last year. So now I'm looking for somebody else to record this wonderful album, of which the song Dream will be on. That's terrible English, but you know what I mean. And in the meantime, I'm still traveling around the world doing a lot of convention work and conference work and the occasional concert, and I write songs, and I'm still presenting things and writing a book on nutrition.
So it's all busy, busy, busy. And I'll tell you what, you're still as beautiful as ever.
You're a sweetheart, thank you. I like that he didn't sound dubious about that.
No, I'm not dubious at all. Ladies and gentlemen, we please thank Diane Sullivan. Thank you, Diane.